Good to see you, sir. Yeah. Well, my microphone probably wasn't on. Thank you, Senator. We're going to focus, like you said, Chair Taylor, on mental health, and I want to just kind of set the context for what is the role and what isn't the role of mental health in violence in general and in school violence in particular. And the first slide that I have that I wanted to share with you all is to kind of point out that mental health really isn't one thing. Mental health is a bunch of things. And the vast majority of the 1.9 million Texas children every year who have a mental health need, a diagnosable mental health need, are mild to moderate needs. They're children who are worried about going to school, too worried to play with their friends, mild depression. That's the vast majority of these cases. I'm going to focus today on the 20,000 youth, primarily, a few children, mostly youth, who are at higher risk for violence, and they are at higher risk for violence, and that's what I'm going to talk about. And then in particular, I'm going to talk about the 900 youth, age 18 or lower, who are at 15 times the risk of committing homicide when untreated compared to their same age peers. So that's what I'm going to try to do. So if we look at the first slide and we think about mental illness itself, mild to moderate, is not a risk factor for violence. When they do studies, it does not increase the likelihood of someone being violent. Similarly, when someone says you would have to be crazy, out of your mind, whatever the term is, in order to commit violence, is wrong. It is very human to commit violence. It's a thing that people do. We do it less today than we used to, but it's still part of human nature. And the fact that we recoil in shock and horror when it happens is, I think, more a sign of our own kind of civilizing process and our own sensibilities, not the fact that this is actually a mental illness every time someone commits violence. There is evil in the world. Severe mental illness, however, does slightly increase the risk. You go from 2 in 100 of people likely to commit violence to 3 in 100. So if statistically, that's a 50% increase. I could say that's a big increase, but that's really not a lot of people. So if you're trying to take a public health perspective on this to try to prevent violence, to try to reduce violence by treating mental illness, you have to treat a lot of people if you're going to try to reduce that risk, which ultimately one day we'd probably like to do.